This is quite possibly one of the hardest videos I've ever had to film for my YouTube channel. Allow me to explain. You see, I've been to Seoul multiple times over the last couple of years. In fact, you would be aware of this if you've been subscribed for a while, but I've only just realized recently that despite the multiple Korean videos and guides that I've made, I've actually never put together a complete Seoul itinerary video. So this video is going to be interesting to put together because I'm going to have to learn to see Seoul like a first timer all over again. Although having said that, it could also actually be a good thing because after years of coming to Seoul, spending countless hours exploring different districts, markets, and restaurants, and making more mistakes than I care to admit, I feel like I'm in a much better position to do this video now. Over the next 3 days, I'm going to be showing you exactly how I would spend 3 days in one of my favorite cities in the world. And so if you're planning a trip to Seoul and wondering what to add to your itinerary, this video today here is for you. And so without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Now walking up to quite possibly the most famous, am I allowed to use the and most together? I'm not sure. Anyway, we're at possibly one of the most iconic spots here in Seoul that is a must visit, especially if you're a first timer here in Seoul. I am here at the Bukchon Hanok village. It's located near the Gyeongbokgung Palace, and as the name suggests, it is a historical neighborhood that's filled with traditional Hanok houses, narrow alleyways, tiled rooftops, and quite possibly some of the most postcard-friendly views here in Seoul. It is quite literally a current living museum, and I say current because it is still an active residential area, which means that hot tip, just make sure that you are observing quiet at peace as much as you can when you're exploring this area. And whilst I do have a list of places that I would recommend you check out, I think the Bukchon Hanok village is best experienced by just exploring, especially on the smaller side streets, and you'll always find some little gems, and it is certainly a place where you can feel the contrast between old and new Seoul. Also, if you're looking to take pictures and videos, I highly recommend coming early on in the morning when the crowds are not quite as intense.
And you will probably be packaged after all that walking in Bukchon, so I would recommend dropping by Ikseon-Dong for some breakfast at Miltoast for some of the best freshly toasted bread you will ever have, or to Soha Salt Pond if salted bread is your game. And once breakfast is done, it's time to head over to our next stop.
And I'm finally doing the most touristy thing you can do here in Seoul. I'm dressed in a hanbok and I think it's giving K-pop demon hunters. What do you guys think? Also chose to do this in the middle of a superbly hot day, which in hindsight is not the smartest idea I've ever had, but we're committed. We're wearing the hanbok now, so let's go give it a go. So while we're walking there, perhaps a little bit about the Gyeongbokgung Palace, if I can get my hat to stand straight. My hat came off. Right, so we're here right in front of Gyeongbokgung Palace, which is quite possibly the most famous palace here in Seoul. And if it's your first time visiting Korea, this is a quintessential spot to add to your itinerary. It was built back in the Joseon dynasty and served as the main royal palace, as well as the political and royal heart of Korea. And though parts of it have been destroyed and rebuilt over time, you'll get a sense of how grand the place is from the moment you step through the gates. I mean, the first thing you're going to notice is how absolutely massive the complex is, from the main gate to the throne hall, courtyards, pavilions, mountain views in the background. Literally everything here is designed to impress and give you a true picture of how magnificent this palace was back in its heyday.
And by the way, a lot of people tend to miss visiting the King's Library, aka Jiboktae, while they're here. It's a UNESCO heritage site and the former private library of King Gojong, but it is only open at certain times of the year, so be sure to check before you go. But man, trust me when I say it is absolutely unreal to see up close.
It is, by the way, not necessary for you to dress in a hanbok to visit the palace, but it's just something that I haven't done since probably the first time I've ever been to South Korea, so I thought that I would do it here today as well for you. The other thing you need to know is that if you rent a hanbok, you can actually enter the Gyeongbokgung Palace for free. And free? Who doesn't love that?
This will take you to just around lunchtime, and just around the corner from the palace is Muguok, a restaurant famous for their North Korean style samgyeopsal. And though there's always a queue, this place is absolutely worth it.
And this next spot is the easiest spot to add to your itinerary if you're already going to the Gyeongbokgung Palace, as it is literally located next door. This is the Korean Folk Museum. Entry is completely free. The museum shows how Koreans have lived through different periods of history, and you'll see this in multiple exhibitions, but honestly my favorite part was this nostalgic street right here. The area is designed to show what Korea looked like from the 60s to the 80s, and it genuinely feels like you've you've stepped onto the set of an old Korean drama like Reply 1988. Here you'll find recreated shopfronts, old school barbershops, cafes, comic book stores, record stores, photo studios, and just little details that make you feel like the whole street seems to be frozen in time. There are actually several other activities that you can do around here. For example, there is Noodum Space, which is a cafe where you can write a letter to your future self. There's also several museums that you can enter for free, such as the Museum of Contemporary Art, as well as a whole bunch of cafes in this area. Obviously, you're not going to take off all of these places if you're doing a 3-day itinerary here in Seoul, but if you're looking for more ideas, I've included these places and more in my Seoul Travel Guide PDF, which I'm going to link in the description box. And located just about 11 to 12 minutes from where the Gyeongbokgung Palace was is possibly one of the most popular sunset spots here in Seoul. I'm currently walking along the Cheonggyecheon stream. It is literally a stream of water that's running through the middle of the city, and it forms a stark contrast to the traffic, office towers, and busy streets above. I mean, you can feel the atmosphere literally changing the moment you come down the stairs to the level of the stream. Here you will see locals and tourists alike jogging, relaxing by the stream, having food or dinner, and just generally unwinding after a long day. The stream itself, by the way, stretches about 11 kilometers or about 7 miles long through central Seoul from Cheongye Plaza in the west to the Jungnam stream in the east. Though one of the beauty of the stream is that you can walk for as long or as short as you can or want. This quite literally is one of my favorite spots in Seoul. I mean, how do you describe the feeling of seeing this to somebody? So for dinner, we're here somewhere quite special. I've just exited the Jongno-samga station, exit 6, and I'm here at the famous Korean Pocha Street in Seoul. What exactly is PojangMacha, I hear you say? Well, it is literally a small food stall, usually housed within a red tent that serves up a selection of fairly priced Korean street snacks and drinks. Although one thing I've learned today as I'm filming this in summer is that the PojangMacha tents are non-existent. Instead, it's just become a whole street of outdoor dining. I've actually been here before in winter, and this is what it looks like during winter. Regardless of whether it's summer, winter, autumn, spring, this is a popular hangout spot for locals as they come here to hang out, drink, laugh, eat after a long day of work. What makes Jongno-sanga PojangMacha Street so special is just how unpretentious it is. Feels raw, local, and super different from the polished side of the city that perhaps tourists like you and I are more familiar with.
And if you're a regular subscriber, you will know that I will always try to end my day by visiting a secret bar, and today is no exception as here we are at the Four Seasons Hotel that hides a blue ribbon, aka Korean's version of Michelin winning bar that has also ranked on both Asia and world's 50 best bars before. Quite an empty bottom floor. Right by the stairs, though, if you look closely, there's a little door here. Enter a little reception area. Still a bit discreet. But wait for the hostess to take you into one of the most stunning underground cocktail bars where the menu is themed after famous figures from all over the world. Both the cocktails that I had here were absolutely delicious. I hope you've enjoyed what I consider has been a rather productive first day here in Seoul. I am just a little bit drunk right now though, so I'm gonna call it a night here, but I'm gonna see you guys bright and early tomorrow for day 2. It is currently 4 a.m. and just a tad cold here in Gangnam. And this, what I'm about to show you, is one of my favorite ways to start my day here in Seoul. Come with me, let me show you what I mean. This is the Samsung Heimaji Park that's located about a 20 to 25 minute from the COEX Mall. So be sure to factor that in and get here in time for sunrise because trust me, it is absolutely stunning. I mean, come on, just look at this. We're starting off our day of exploration with some breakfast, and today I want to take you to my definitive favorite pancake place here in Seoul. And I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this place on social media, so I'm excited to show you. Come with me. This is Queen's Park Cafe located in Cheongdam, which is one of the more upmarket areas of Gangnam, and if it looks familiar, that's because it's been featured in K-dramas like Itaewon Class and Something in the Rain, though that's not why I'm here. We're here for one thing and one thing only. So I'm here now at a district that is about, I think, 13 or 12 stops from Gangnam. It took me about 33 minutes to get here. This is Seongsu. It is South Korea's answer to Brooklyn. It is quite
easily the trendiest district here in this city, and it actually encompasses quite a large area, and this entire place will take you more than a day to explore properly. You will find everything from Seoul's largest olive young, plenty of restaurants, trendy cafes, local designer brands, and many more. I will not go into plenty of detail about what exactly to do here because I have actually previously done a detailed Seongsu guide, which I'm gonna link in my description box for your reference. Special mention though to one of my favorite stores here. This is the Tambourine's fragrance store. There is always a queue, and I will always queue to restock my Tambourine's fragrances. But the reason why I keep coming back is that there is always something new to see here, and no return visit to Seongsu is ever the same. In particular, there's always new or seasonal pop-ups, and a very good example of that is this one right here. On the topic of new, I Am Donut has also just opened up a branch here in Seongsu. As you can see, the queue is just as crazy as it is in Japan.
Some other noteworthy new openings include the new Blue Elephant store, Ready Young aka Olive Young's pharmacy competitor, and the largest new dake house that includes a crazy cafe at the top level that is a must try. I will link a short showing what I ate in the description box.
There is honestly so much to do in Seongsu that you could quite easily continue being there and even have dinner there. I do have some dinner recommendations in my Seongsu travel guide if you want to check that out. However, I am now at one of the best places to spend sunset in Seoul. This is the Banpo Hangang Park, and particularly behind me is the Banpo Bridge. It is a very popular spot to be at sunset, and that's because a rainbow light water show that happens here every night from about 7:30. You can see many people camping out, prepping for sunset for when the show starts at this bridge right here. And while the people are waiting for the light show to start, they would generally come to the convenience store that's right behind me to get some food. It's quite busy in here now as it's almost 6 o'clock, which means everybody's prepping for the sunset. This one looks alright. Let's do this. And we're gonna get a Pepsi Max as well, I guess. Nope, that's not Pepsi Max, that's just Pepsi. And get a Pepsi as well. And now face the payment queue. If you're making yourself a ramen or full meal, there's actually some ramen making machines, ramen cooking machines right here next to the convenience store. Right, so now then we have to figure out how to cook it. Yeah, it's cooking. Just a quick note to say that this was one of the first things I ever did when I came to Seoul all those years ago. So this is feeling highly nostalgic. And once that's all done, the only thing that's left to do is to grab yourself a seat with killer views of the Banpo Bridge and have your ramen while waiting for the show to start.
This is what the waterfall show looks like, but it really does get to its finest form once night falls, and you can really see all the colors.
I'm here now in the Apgujeong Rodeo, which is the more upmarket part of Gangnam, because we obviously need to end our day by going to a secret bar or two, and is located down here. Called Le Chamber. I'm gonna head down these stairs and you'll see a little door right there that leads into a empty little study like this that honestly just looks like a little home office, but don't be deceived, for this place hides a little secret. Let me show you. No hints about what this place is, because you can see there is a Asia 50 Best Bar Awards there and some other awards here as well. Anyway, what you really want to pay attention to is this bookshelf right here. You see this book that's called Le Chamber? You want to kind of press on that.
And they will instantly open up the bookshelf to take you into one of the most stunning cocktail bars that you have ever seen. That even has live music on at certain times of the day and some of the most stunning cocktails. My personal favorites here include the Laughing Buddha and the Chamber Story, a cocktail that really knows how to make an entrance.
And that officially wraps up another day here in Seoul. It is time to go home and get some of that well-earned sleep. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow for our next day. Bright and early here in Myeongdong, and today I want to take you to my favorite breakfast spot here. Come on, let's go. So this place is usually known for their Korean barbecue, but in the early mornings from 7:30 to about 10:30 a.m. they serve Hwonji for breakfast.
And this whole thing cost me just 17,000 Korean won, aka about 17 Aussie dollars, which is to me fantastic value.
located just about a 13-minute walk from our breakfast spot, is quite possibly one of the most iconic towers here in Seoul, and we are going to be getting there in quite possibly the most iconic way. We are now at the cable car station. It is 15,000 Korean won for a return ticket. Not too bad. Queue up for your turn. You can of course hike up that hill, but we're in the middle of summer as I'm filming this, so the cable car is obviously the most popular option. So no trip to Seoul is complete until you've been to Namsan Tower, which is what I'm standing right in front of at this present time. It is probably one of the city's most iconic landmarks and one of the best places to really take in exactly how big Seoul is. As the name suggests, it sits at the top of Namsan Mountain, and the tower will give you panoramic views over the entire city, from the dense skylines of Myeondong and Gangnam to the mountains that frame Seoul in the distance. In the day, it's a great spot to appreciate the scale of the city, and as the nighttime approaches, it becomes one of the best places to see sunset. It is of course famous for these love padlocks that are basically dominating this entire bridge here. And just like that, we're at the top level of Namsan Tower. It stands at just about 273 meters or 770 feet above sea level at the top of Namsan Mountain. And today in particular is a fantastic day to visit it because we're getting crystal clear views of the city. I mean, come on, just look at that. With a touch of food here at the Namdaemun market, one of Seoul's oldest and most traditional market, located near the historic Namdaemun gate. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about what you can do here at the Namdaemun market because I've previously done a dedicated video for this market showing you everything that you can eat here. I'm going to link that video in the description box so you can go check that out if you're looking to have a meal or six here because there is so much food to be had. But today, while we're here, I wanted to take you to Gyeongbokgung Alley, which is quite easily one of the most famous alleyways here at the market that serves one thing and one thing only: cheap and delicious Gyeongbokgung. Soup is so flavorful. The noodles have this stretchy mochi-like texture to it, which I love. 유튜브.
유튜브를 할 거예요? 한국 삼촌이야?
어?
한국
아니야, 호주에 사람이.
호주인인데 한국에서 유튜브.
네네네. Soup is so thick and flavorful. I am into it. I'm gonna try some of the Naengmyeon as well. So flavorful and not just spicy. Located about an 11-minute bus ride away from the Namdaemun market is the Dongdaemun Design Plaza, one of Seoul's most futuristic landmarks and easily one of the most visually striking spots here in Seoul. And obviously the building is quite photogenic from the outside, but it's not just about that. You'll also find plenty of design exhibitions, pop-ups, fashion events, shops and creative spaces inside of the plaza itself, and most of the exhibitions in there will be free to enter with some exception. And everything notwithstanding, you can probably end up spending about 2 hours in here. One of the most unique things you can do in Seoul is to hike the Seoul City Wall Trail. The entire city wall structure was originally built back in the Joseon Dynasty to protect the old capital. The stone wall still wraps around huge parts of the city today, creating easily one of the most scenic walks in Seoul. Though if you've been following my itinerary, you will not have enough time to do the entire trail. But as you'll be at the Dongdaemun Design Plaza, I would recommend coming to this spot, Hyeongin-jimun Gate, to witness sunset with this view. I mean, come on, how could you miss this? And if you've been following my itinerary step for step, this is now going to take you to close to dinner time. And so we're going to be finishing off with a bang by heading to this here Myeondong Food Street and Myeondong Night Market. I don't believe there is a district or area that is more popular than the one that we're standing in right now. And why did I put this on day 3? Because you are most likely going to be doing some shopping, from K-beauty products, clothing, shoes, etc. You can even buy extra luggage bags here, I believe. It's the perfect time to do a bit of shopping before you go home. And if the shopping street above didn't give you enough options, you should really come down here to the underground basement that's heading towards the station, which is literally an entire shopping center of its own.
And of course, you will need to have dinner, and may I recommend Myeondong Gyeoja, which is a multi-Michelin Bib Gourmand winning kalguksu noodle spot that has really been one of my constant favorites. Don't forget to pair that with some of their mandus, aka dumpling. Though if you're craving something a bit different, I also quite like this duck galbi place.
Did you know that Korea has a killer listening bar scene? I've in fact been to quite a few this trip, and I'm gonna link some of them in my description box and the rest of them in my PDF guide. But today, as we're in Jongno, we're gonna head to a place called Sunset Record Bar. It truly is one of those hidden Euljiro spots, because one second you're on this super hectic party street, and the next second you have stepped into Seoul's retro rock and roll basement. Whoa. The Sunset Record Bar is one of those hidden Euljiro gems that perfectly captures the neighborhood's gritty old school charm. It's tucked away among aging workshops and industrial alleyways, and the bar truly feels like a love letter to vintage music culture, with walls covered in memorabilia, vinyl-inspired deco, and music videos playing throughout the space. You can even request your favorite songs, creating your own soundtrack, whether you're into classic rock, punk, 80s hits, or nostalgic sing-alongs. This place has it all. This place is really about immersing yourself in the great music, strong cocktails, and the atmosphere of it all. It truly has been one of my more memorable nights here in Euljiro. And whilst I think everything I did over the last 3 days have been the perfect first-timer itinerary, there's obviously so much more left to do in Seoul. Like, for example, you could quite easily spend an entire day at the Lotte World. Not to mention that I've been to dozens of secret bars, cafes, restaurants, and more over my multiple trips to Seoul. And so if you're heading to Seoul for more than 3 days, or if you're looking to switch up the itinerary that I proposed a little bit, I definitely recommend downloading my Seoul Travel PDF guide containing everything I think you need to see, eat, try, and do in my favorite city. You might have also wondered why I haven't talked about any of my first-timer travel tips in my usual fashion, and that's because I've previously done a video detailing absolutely everything you need to know and prepare before and within the first hour of you arriving in Seoul, South Korea. I'm gonna link that video at the end of this video so that you can go ahead and watch that next. I do hope that you found value in today's video, and if you have, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share all the good stuff that you know are gonna appease those YouTube algorithm gods, but much more importantly, it's just gonna make my day as a content creator. And as always, I do hope that you have a fantastic day ahead, or that you've already had a good day. I'm gonna see you real soon in the next video. Tumanayo!